Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype as we look at your forecast ahead for your Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. Now, before we get into the forecast, I do want to ask folks if you consider scanning the code here and perhaps making a donation to the American Red Cross. This is to help the victims from Hurricane Milton as well as Hurricane Helene. Obviously, recovery efforts take months, so any donation is greatly appreciated to help those folks get back on their feet. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're tracking here with your forecast as we're looking at that severe weather potential here for your midweek. That's still in the cards as we go Tuesday into Wednesday especially. We're talking about tropical depression formation. Still some question marks on this one. The models were getting aggressive over the weekend. They've been kind of backing off of the latest. We'll take a look at the latest on that to see if we're going to get patty to form or not. And then we'll also take a look at a big chunk of your November. We'll look at the climate outlook as well as how it's looking as we're trending toward closer and closer to Thanksgiving. We'll kind of give you a sneak peek at that. Now, first, I do want to thank all the new subscribers here to the channel. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it'd be an honor and privilege to be one of your weather services here in the YouTube universe. So all you got to do is free. Just please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And if you like this report, please leave a comment down below and give me a thumbs up. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. All right, let's go and take a look at that satellite picture here as we're late today on your Monday as we've got a storm system here that's going to be pushing out of the Rockies and out here into the plains. We've got a big warm up here in the middle and cold air plowing behind that. So when you get the classic setup there of that setting up there in the middle of the country, you know you're going to get some thunderstorms. And that's what we're looking ahead for Tuesday and especially on Wednesday as that upper energy starts to pull on out. Now, looking at surface map, we had a bit of a backdoor cold front that kind of brought us some nice cool air across the eastern portion of the United States, especially around the mid-Atlantic down to the southeast, getting a little brief reprieve from some of that very warm air. But that's going to be short-lived as things across the southeast are going to continue to warm back up here. Again, look at these temperatures out here on your Monday afternoon into the 40s and 50s and 70s, well north up into Minnesota. So again, that clash is going to bring together the ingredients necessary for some thunderstorms. Again, not expecting a super outbreak here, but definitely looking at some conditions that will be deteriorating, especially on your Wednesday. Now, looking at your current watches and warnings, we got numerous snow advisories out here. Obviously, going to be dealing with that as well. So, pretty decent snows for Utah and portions of Wyoming. Hitting into the Colorado Rockies as well. And red flag warnings, very breezy out ahead of that storm system as it comes on out here. So some very dry conditions out there for definitely want to watch out for wildfires there across portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, and into Texas. So the only rainy spot out here I can really see on the active radars right now is actually here toward the northwest of Phoenix, getting some rain in an area that usually doesn't get a whole lot. So some pretty decent rains out here north of I-10. And believe it or not, probably get some more rain chances into Phoenix. You know, of course, they had a very, very hot and steamy summer, to say the least. So they're probably appreciating the clouds and the rain threat coming their way. Our weather city of the day. This is a beautiful shot here. Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Gorgeous day out there on Monday, but for Tuesday, it's going to be a different story, folks. If you're living up that part of the country, you're looking at mostly cloudy skies and high temperature on your Tuesday around 53 degrees. And hey, if you'd like to nominate your city as the weather city of the day and you know of a good webcam in your area, perhaps on YouTube or some other source, please just take that link, post it down below, and I'll consider it for a future broadcast. All right, now it's time to go ahead and take a look at the latest from the Storms Prediction Center as we're looking ahead for your Tuesday and Wednesday to see exactly what we can expect as we watch that storm system start to come out of the Rockies. So this is your day 2 outlook here as we're going to be looking at to see how things are going to develop as that system begins to pull on out. Obviously, what you're seeing that marginal risk for severe weather. That's not that big a deal, not really huge, but again, from Minnesota stretching back down toward Oklahoma, that's where we're looking at some gusty winds, and you're probably going to see some small hail probability with that as well. Now, the risk does go up as we go into your day 3 outlook. Again, this is going toward Wednesday. Do you notice that it does go up here a little bit as we're seeing the yellow? That's that slight risk for scattered severe thunderstorms basically across Missouri, Kansas, back into portions of North Texas. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some gusty winds, maybe a few isolated tornadoes with this. Looks like the dynamics are pretty good there. We'll show you some of the model data on that here in a second, but it looks like that'll be the best risk for severe weather as we go into day 3. That's going to be for your Wednesday, where we're going to see the best chance of seeing some active weather in that zone. Now, as far as the 3 to 7 day hazards outlook is concerned, the big story here is going to be the fact that we're going to be dealing with some cold out into the Intermountain region. That's for sure. It's going to be kind of nippy out there, and it's going to be staying that way really for predominantly the 10 areas. So that's what that bluest area out there. Obviously got frost and freeze there getting into portions of New Mexico and portions of Colorado as well. So this is the zone we're looking at right through here. As far as the main hazard threat, that's day 3 through 7 as we look at going into this upcoming weekend and into next week. So I still think there might be a couple more chances we might see some active, maybe some thunderstorms in there as well. But for right now, not too significant as we look for that period. Now, as far as the tropics are concerned, again, we continue to watch what's going out here in the Caribbean. And right now, the latest from the National Hurricane Center is painting this as about only a 40% chance of getting something developed within the next 7 days. Right now, it doesn't look all that too conducive right now, but that's where we're looking for that potential. And it looks like the trend right now is for this stuff to kind of move up in this direction, kind of away. There was some indications, the overnight models of the ESAs were kind of moving it into the Gulf. Now the GFS is going back the other way. I'll show you what I'm talking about here, as I really don't think the risk is too big here. I know the model data, the GFS especially, was going really bonkers with that over the weekend with some of it developing a significant hurricane, but I just don't see that happening. Right now, there's very limited thunderstorms in that area, so we'll see how the thunderstorms progress and develop as pressures are anticipated to fall a little bit in here, and we may get a depression to form. Maybe a tropical storm if we get Patty. That's our next named storm. That's the area that we'll be looking at. Obviously, you can keep up on the latest with my tropical shorts. They're 1-minute updates you can get here on the channel. So if you're already a subscriber, you should get those alerts in your shorts feeds as well. All right, let's take a look at this is not the ESANS. I switched this over to the GEFS model because ESANS was old data. So I want to go ahead and show you this one here, showing what we're looking at as far as the outlook. So again, we're watching its area down in here, but again, it looks like the trend is for anything to develop head up this way. There was actually a couple areas up in here and down in here that they were showing something, but not seeing anything that's going to track toward Florida or the southeastern coast. I think whatever develops stays in the Caribbean and stays away from the continental United States. At least that's the way the models are trending right now for the moment. So we got some good news there on that front. Now, I do want to show the different model comparisons. Let's talk about the European model, which has really been downplaying this thing for a long time. Not really showing a whole lot, folks. Again, that blue is when you see the pressure fall, and yellow, that's higher pressure, obviously. So we're seeing the trends here of the lower the pressure there across portions of the Caribbean just a little bit. Looks like we got a couple of areas that we're kind of watching. I didn't get my pen up there. I'm sorry I didn't get my pen up here, but I will get that up here for a second so I can illustrate for you guys and show you what we're talking about. So you see a little bit of this going on right here, right through there, and then a little bit down in this zone. So we got a couple of areas we're watching. But again, the European model is not that aggressive with it at all. It's just not showing anything developing here over the next 10 days. So if I go with the European, and that's the model I do favor, it's not showing that much. The American GFS model, different story. It's been still the most aggressive, although it's been trending backward here over the last few days. So it is showing something here as we head toward this upcoming weekend. You notice we got looks like a weak depression here forming down here in the southern part of the Caribbean as we head towards Saturday. So it's about 5 days out that we'll see something there potentially developing. And then where it goes from there, it kind of just tracks up toward the north and east and then kind of moves across the island of Hispaniola. Maybe it becomes a tropical storm. It's 988 millibars. Maybe we get a tropical storm, maybe we get a named storm here, and then this thing just kind of moves on out into the open Atlantic. Not a big deal here as it moves away here on the GFS. So again, the good news here on the tropical update is the fact that we're not expecting anything significant to develop, and it looks like the Gulf Coast here will be okay here over the next 7 days. Let's take a look at the jet stream. This thing is really starting to get a little more active. I know November is going to get a little more active. The only area that's probably not going to see a lot of activity is going to be this area down here in the southeast. And we're going to have a ridge of high pressure. It's going to get kind of stubborn to hold off there. But a lot of the country is going to definitely see a much more active weather pattern here as we wrap up the month of October and going into November. Now, obviously, as we're watching this system going into Wednesday, it got a tremendous jet energy that's going to be coming out in here. That's why I'm saying we're seeing divergence. That's what it means. You got wind shear in the atmosphere there, and with the clash of those air masses in there, it's going to be that zone where we may see some probability of some tornadoes in that area because of the strong jet stream that's going to be ejecting out of Texas and through Kansas late in the day on your Wednesday. So that's what we'll be watching, that severe weather risk there. As this moves on out, it does lift on out here and starts to weaken. So those storms will weaken as it goes across the Great Lakes with that storm system. But the trend is for yet another trough here to dig in here across the west coming in here. It's not in what they call a negative tilt. It's more positive or neutral, which means you're not going to get any real big storm systems with this thing. but it's something we got to watch. So as we go into this upcoming weekend, Saturday, got another big trough here continuing way down, almost a cutoff low here, forming it out here south of Baja California. That's pretty deep to see that for this time of year. The other part that I'm watching, you got this big ridge of high pressure here across the southeast. So many areas across the southeast, which was hoping to get some rainfall. I think the rain track for the most part is going to be away from you. We're going to get some initially, especially with the system that's coming out on Wednesday. But the trend is really once that initial rains come in going into toward Thursday and Friday, not going to see a whole lot because that high pressure ridge is right through there. But this is a very amplified jet stream. Look at this thing. I mean, this is very significant to see the jet stream really getting very active and some very strong jets going into November. So we'll have to watch that closely because a very active jet stream going into November means obviously the chance for additional severe weather. And you got here at the end of the 10-day here on the European model, yet another cutoff low barrier and a very strong one coming in through California and coming through the Four Corners region. So we've got to watch that closely as well. So looks like we're going to stay busy here for the month of November. It's been kind of slow for October, but that thing's going to start to change here a bit as we go in through the month ahead. All right, so we're going into Wednesday. We're going to be watching this zone closely. Obviously, we're talking about areas there from Iowa stretching back toward Texas. That's the zone that's got that slight risk for severe weather. Again, I would not rule out some tornadoes there across portions of Kansas there late in the day on Wednesday. That'll lift up toward the north as we go in toward Thursday morning. Looks like a rainy morning coming into Chicago, stretching back from Green Bay, and it's coming back into eastern Texas as that front begins to move off toward the east. Now, with this big ridge here off the eastern seaboard, it's going to pull up a big stop sign and weaken that system tremendously as it continues to move off toward the east. So as I stretch this forward here a little bit, that rain, yeah, you think Atlanta, you're going to get some rain out of this? No, it's going to fall apart. Birmingham, you probably will. Jackson, back toward Louisiana, but a lot of the southeast, Carolina's not going to get a whole lot as that kind of falls apart. Then we got another piece of energy that's going to come on out. We're going to see a little bit of rain here across portions of Texas here coming out. We got another disturbance here coming out through California, Southern California, Los Angeles, probably getting some rain in here for Saturday and into Sunday with that disturbance coming on in. So a very active track here in the west, and that's where the cold air is going to stay. Look at a big cutoff low feature here down here south of Baja right there. You see the rains here out in the middle of the plains. And into the Midwest, but we're not getting it in the southeast because that upper level ridge I just showed you, that's going to be staying in place there. So the rain track stays in the north and the southeast and continues to pull out into the plains and up to the Midwest, still getting the rain there. But very, very chilly out here in the west. You notice that blue line's in there. That's indicative of some cold air. That's your 540 freezing line sitting right through there. So it's going to be quite nippy through the Intermountain region as we go through the next 10 days with below normal temperatures. Now, looking at the precipitation, taking you out here for the next 10 days, again, you'll see what I'm talking about, the trend. October's been so dry for a big portion of the country, but we're going to get rains out into the Intermountain, snows, obviously, for Colorado and Utah and into Wyoming. But look at the rains here from Kansas stretching up to that around for Wednesday and Thursday going across the Midwest. Some of the southeast is going to get on it. Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana getting out. Georgia, not so much of that initial round. And then we get some more rain with that next surge coming out, but again, stays to the north. So again, a lot of areas here in the southeast, just not going to see a whole lot of rain. The track's going to be where systems are kind of coming like this and going like that across the middle of the country and into the Midwest and into the Northeast. That's where the rain field's going to stay here as we go from now straight into around the 7th of November with the track. All right, let's look at the temperature profile here. This is the 850 millibar. That's about 5,000 feet. It's the best area where we kind of track where the cold air masses are and the warm air masses. When you see the blue and greens, that's obviously the colder temperatures. And when you see the reds and above, like we're seeing here on your Monday, you know, it's just very, very warm here in the atmosphere right here. And that's why we're going to get those those air masses as we go through your time. So again, watch that timestamp in the upper right-hand corner here. As we take this on through, we're going to bring some of that cold air and we're going to cause this to glide up as we go in toward your Wednesday. So you got a pretty decent cold front here. Look at that right through here. And out ahead of that, that's where we're going to see the showers and thunderstorms and the potential for severe weather kind of moving in through that area as we go into late in the day on your Wednesday. And then this thing starts to pull off. It looks like the front starts to weaken, but we do get some cool air here as we go toward late in the day on Thursday. You notice we get a little bit of cool down here, but it's still most of the west staying warm, staying cold, I should say, and then very warm here across the northeast. New England going to stay warm as well as we head toward the end of the work week going into Thursday and Friday. So as this goes on off, we get a brief cool down there across New England heading into Friday and Saturday, but again, a big warm up here in the middle of the country. Still staying cold out here in the west, unfortunately, with that trend. We just can't get that pattern shift to kind of shift that trough a little bit further off to the east. So most of the eastern half of the United States is going to stay very much on the warm side here, as we got big area of high pressure there, just kind of anchored there across the southeast. You can still see it there, 850 as well. Sitting there. Look how warm this is up here across Chicago, over toward Cleveland and back over toward Kansas City. Very warm, but go to Phoenix, Arizona, you're probably looking at below normal temperatures out there through a lot of that Intermountain, especially with that big cutoff low, upper level low there across the southwest portion of the United States going into Sunday and Monday. That's going from the 3rd and into the 4th. And then the warm air goes into New England heading into Tuesday. And again, most of the east just stays warm, folks. Not big changes there going into Thursday of next week. A lot, other than a few brief cool downs here with some of those systems, but still looking at very warm temperatures here across the eastern half of the United States, and much colder out here in the west, especially California, with temperatures running well below normal going in toward the middle of next week, going into Wednesday and Thursday. So that looks like that's not going to change all that much. So let's go ahead and take a look at the latest from the Climate Prediction Center. See how this kind of matches up here with what we're seeing with the model data here. So it's kind of summarizes everything up here. So as you can see here in the east, big warm here across the eastern third. We're going to stay cool out here again to November 3rd through the 7th. That model run we just took you through takes you through the 7th. So this stays pretty cool out here. Now, the trend is, as we go in through 8 through 14, starts to modify. It's at least near normal, still a little below normal there across the southwest, but still very warm here in the east as we continue from the 5th through the 11th. Precipitation-wise, above normal through here. Obviously, with that track, you saw that going through here over the next 10 days. And I would almost paint this below normal here across the southeast if that ridge holds true. Here through day 6 through 10. And then going from the 5th through the 11th, it looks like slightly above average precipitation for the eastern third and middle of the country. Drier here across California up into the high plains as we head from the 5th to the 11th. Now, as far as the rest of the month of November, at least the big chunk of it, is we take a look at weeks 3 through 4. So we're going from the 9th to the 22nd. These are issued on the weekends, over the weekend. You see we're staying above normal here with your temperature outlook here across the southern tier of the United States, and near seasonal here across a big portion of the country and back out toward the western portion of the United States. So not a big change there for us. And then precipitation staying dry across the southeast once again, and a little more active there across the northwest with just kind of equal chances of precipitation for a big chunk of the country. So getting closer. Of course, Thanksgiving is pretty late this year. It's like, well, the 28th, very, very late this year for the holiday season to start. But the trend right now looks like November, for the most part, is going to stay with above normal temperatures. And looks like areas that are still fighting some drought conditions are going to get some relief, especially in the middle of the country, with some nice rounds of rain that are be coming in. So definitely making that transition from October to November, a much more active storm track as anticipated here coming our way. And then, of course, we got to watch out for those opportunities for severe weather throughout the month. We do have one coming up for Wednesday. Couldn't rule out maybe another slight chance heading in toward the weekend. But as we progress deeper in the month, we'll see how the pattern evolves and see if that jet stream changes any, and as far as its position. Because right now it doesn't look like it. It looks like most of the active weather will stay in the west and in the middle portion of the country. All right, that's your update for now. Again, if you like what you see with this, I'm going to be doing these a little differently. I'm going to be posting these on your afternoons for the next day's forecast. Kind of gives the forecast a little more life for my daily. So look for these to be posting sometime between 4 and 5 o'clock every day. And if you'd like to make this part of your YouTube feed, please just subscribe to the channel. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe. It'll help put that into your feed there. And again, if you like what you see with this, please give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate you. Help me out as I continue to try to grow this channel. All right, that's it for now. You guys take it easy. Be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.